The subfloor is more or less gutted. Now I have to hurry up because we need a floor to walk on. I'm going to go ahead and start pulling out these old floor joists. Now I know that I could possibly put new joists in next to the old ones and sister them up. So old one, new one, hook them together. The reason I don't want to do that, in some places I will have to, but wherever I can replace them, I'm going to, because there's no point in leaving wood in there that could be rotted, but also the old joists are so twisted that if I sister them, you're going to have new wood I want straight, old wood like this, and they're not going to go together right, and I don't want my new wood to be twisted also. It just is going to make sense to get these old twisted pieces of wood out of the way. We're slowly making progress on this huge job, and right now we're working through kind of a complicated area because we have this load-bearing wall, and I thought I would just sister the joists under the wall, but the joists are lining up in a really weird positions. They're not lining up where I want them for sistering so that my plywood goes on neatly. So I'm going to attempt to remove the joists under our load-bearing wall, and I'm just going to do them one at a time and replace them with new wood where I need it. So just to show you what's going on, I took this old joist and I screwed it here like a leg going all the way down to the floor. So this will help carry the load as I take out this joist. And then I'll replace it, and we'll just support as we go. Over here I took these out, and this was no problem because there's no weight on it, so that was easy. But that's about all we've done so far. I'm gonna guess try to get this one out. Okay. So there's the ideal situation. Let me see. As you can see, I got a doubled joist right here, hopefully helping carry this wall. So we're going to take the screws out. And that's it, it's free. No, we haven't made it very far, but we do feel good about the progress. So much so that we are going to put our first sheet of plywood down, maybe the first sheet and a half to get the stagger going, because the more floor we have, the easier it's going to be for us to bring our materials in, and Ashley can come in further to help me, and it'll be safer. So I feel good about this, at least, that we get a piece of wood down. So I'm going to go grab one out of the bus, plop it down, and see how it looks. Are you going to hit the glass or anything?
Nope.
Man, there's just one board hanging down too far. I think it'll go. It's wedged under it right now.
Yep.
I thought I would show you this before I screw this sheet on. What I'm doing here is putting some blocking in to attach my edges to so that they don't sag or become uneven. This is required because I'm not using a typical tongue and groove subfloor. I'm just using regular sheathing. Subfloor plywood has a groove and a tongue that interlock, then you don't need the blocking. We didn't buy that because it's really bad quality. For a long time now, the subfloor, plywood subfloor, they make the tongue and grooves really poorly and sloppy, so the floor doesn't line up when you interlock them, and one will be higher than the other. It's a big mess, so we just don't want to buy that and fight through them. So we just bought these because then we can get nice flat seams all the way. So I'm going to get this lined up. I'll leave an 1/8 inch gap for expansion, and we'll get it screwed down. Really working.
Maybe we should move that bracket.
So tight here. We're coming back to these joists again. We're kind of bouncing around. I gave up on the ones under the wall because in the other room we have all the flooring that we ripped up, and we decided to stack right there before we knew that we'd have to take the joists out that the flooring is now sitting on. So we're going to just carry on with this part that we can do pretty easily. And that means that even if I have to, because I think this whole project I have to get up here. You gotta like swim up. This whole project kind of makes you say, if this floor is this bad, what about Maverick's room? What about Belle's room? The bedrooms?
Yeah.
You know, now that I'm seeing this floor, their floor is probably similar underneath. That's my guess.
Or it could be fine, because like over here was solid.
In our kitchen, it's all solid. We walk on it all the time, no crunch. So, and here's the other room.
It could have been fine.
But since the top floor is so solid, doesn't move, it's solid feeling, it's good. It'll last a long time.
Yeah.
The only reason we have to do this is because we exposed it, and we're not going to put the floor back down over something that we know is bad.
Yeah.
But
I mean, when you're like falling through it,
yeah,
and it's like crumbling.
But keep this in mind, that if we want to, many years down the road, pull up their floorboards and put new flooring in there,
yeah,
this same process could still be done without messing up their rooms, because all you'd have to do is take off the baseboard flooring. Even if I have to replace joists, I can do it. No problems. Minimal problems. Under the closets would be a problem, but I don't know. We'll see what we can do. Some things might seem bad, but they're not as bad as they seem. They're just... I guess what I'm saying is there's probably a lot of problems in a lot of houses, but you don't know it yet.
Yeah.
That's...
Pretty much.
But when you uncover it, you can't leave it.
Some people do.
Yeah. People say, what happens if you step on a nail? I'm doing it all the time. It's annoying. Wow, these go in so nice in this wood.
And butter.
In the old one, it was like torture getting these in. So I want to talk about this just in case you guys missed it the first time we installed these. What this is a reinforcing bracket which is designed to bring an overnotched floor joist back up to code specs. So there's certain limitations of how far you can notch a joist when you're going around stuff like this conduit right here. So when you overnotch a joist past what's allowed, you weaken it, and you don't want your floor joist snapping, cracking, sagging over time. They actually sell a plate that you can buy like this, and it brings the strength back up in this area where it's overnotched so that it's back up to standards. That's all it is. So it's kind of a handy little bracket allowing us to keep this conduit up flat to our floor joist underneath. Okay, so that should be about where it is. That means I can put a screw right here. We're working on the last joist of this first run. That feels good to be getting half done with this floor section. And we also took some time to clear out that next room, which we had stacked up with all the wood flooring. So we shifted that outside. We're going to get rid of it. I wish I could save more lumber and reuse it later for different projects, but the fact of the matter is we don't have a garage, we don't have a barn, we have nowhere to store stuff, and we can't just keep it in our house for months on end, tripping over it. And if we put it outside, it's going to get moldy and rained on and ruined. So you just have to take it as a loss sometime, and that's fine. I'm just glad that we're fixing the problem. We'll worry about the wood later. With all that wood out of the way, we can continue on with doing those joists that are underneath that load-bearing wall. So that's what we're going to be working on next. That's the update for now. It's going good. Slow but steady progress. Let me get out of the way so I can show you guys what's going on. So we just finished those joists in there. Now we're stepping into the other room. I can't believe what a mess our house is turning into. This was so unexpected. We thought we were wrapping up the renovation, and now it looks like we're just starting. Alright, so we just got our new one in. Now I can cut the old one out of the way. And hopefully be okay.
Whoa.
So let me show you guys what I'm doing. As I install these joists, I am centering them over my beam, which is carrying the load. You want to make sure you have at least 1.5 inches of your joist on the beam. That's the minimum. So I'm centering them on the beam, and then I'm splicing them with this 2-foot piece of lumber right here. This will tie these joists together so they can't separate, they can't twist independent of each other, and it just keeps them nice and in line. And then I install my lateral bracing. So this cross bracing keeps these joists up straight so they don't lean and twist, which they would certainly without those in there. This gives strength to the house. Joists can't collapse, joists can't separate. This is the way that it should be done. That's the way we're doing it. Now, lateral bracing like this, the cross bracing, it doesn't have to be the full height. So you'll notice that I'm using 2x6s. Let's say, for example, this beam had imperfections in it. Well, if this was full height, it might carry those imperfections up and throw my floor out of whack. So I don't like it touching the beam. I just put it up here close to the floor surface. It's a little bit subflush, that's okay. This isn't for floor support, this is just bracing to keep the joist straight and in line. What it also does is keeps them on my 16-inch centers. It's perfect. I don't have to worry about where I'm connecting them. I do this first and it keeps them all in perfect in line because I know that each one of these is 13 inches and then 1.5 inches is 14.5. That's my 16-inch center. So that's the system I'm doing all the way across. Unfortunately, I'm running into a bit of a problem, and that is I used up all my wood. So realistically, I have one more joist I can install, but I can't really because I don't even have my splices. So I think we have to run to the store quick before I can continue. And we just need a few more joists, and I'm done with this, and we can get the plywood on the floor. That's all.